Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen we're making some fudgy, amazing brownie cookies. So let's get started. First off, grab 4 ounces of bittersweet chocolate, and you have a choice here. You could use a bar and give it a chop, or just grab chocolate chips and add that right into your bowl. The chocolate chips will take a little bit more work to melt, and usually you'll have a little bit nicer chocolate in bar form. So today I'm using bars. Give this a good chop. These cookies are pure chocolate flavor, and you really want to have like all of the chocolate in them. So I'm using a bittersweet because it has less sugar and other things added. It's really like almost pure chocolate. Once your chocolate's in nice uniform pieces, add that into a microwave safe bowl. Now we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of butter, so just cut those into pieces, pop those in. I'm gonna microwave this in 20-second intervals on like 60% power. You could use high power if you want, but give it a stir in between each interval until it is nice and silky smooth. Several intervals later, my butter and chocolate are beautifully mixed. I'm gonna set those aside so they cool down just a little bit. And now in a large mixing bowl, I'm adding 1/2 cup or 100 grams of granulated sugar. But we're not just gonna use granulated sugar. No, we're gonna use brown sugar too. It's a difficult choice whenever you're using sugar because you're like, which one should I use? Granulated sugar will bake up really nicely. It's not gonna give you a ton of spread. But brown sugar has the most incredible caramel notes ever. So I'm always tempted to use just brown sugar, but for a cookie like this that's soft and fudgy, you're gonna go both ways. Sugar for the structure, brown sugar for the flavor. And I'm adding 1/2 cup or 110 grams of this. And you could use light or dark brown sugar, it's up to you. I'm using light. Whenever I have brown sugar in a recipe, I always crumble it into the bowl because those lumps can be rock hard and will never mix. So it's my little insurance policy. Now I want 2 large room temperature eggs. Give them a crack and add that right in without any of the shells. And egg number 2. I'm also adding a tablespoon of vanilla to give you a wonderful depth of flavor. Now here's the deal. This is a foolproof, super easy recipe, but one step will make it so much better and like more visually appealing. And that's to mix your heart out with the eggs and sugar. Doing that will dissolve the sugar. So instead of being granules, it'll be mixed into the liquid of the eggs, and that'll give you that signature crackly, shiny brownie top. Which is one of the reasons that I love this cookie so much to begin with, because you get all of that nice crackly top, and it's the perfect proportion. Sometimes my eyes are bigger than my mouth, and I'm like, eating this giant piece of brownie, and afterwards I feel too full. But with brownie cookies, I'm able to like just have 1 cookie, maybe 2. It's just like the perfect proportion. Mix this on medium to medium high for 1 to however many minutes you want, and get it to be nice and dissolved. So not only are we dissolving the sugars, we're also beating in a ton of air. And one thing that can happen with these cookies is they spread too much. If that happens, it means you didn't chill them for long enough, and maybe you didn't beat the eggs too. Once your sugar and eggs are glossy and beautiful, we're gonna add in this also glossy and beautiful mixture of chocolate and butter. All right, add all of that in. Mix this in one more time so it's beautifully combined. Looks so good already, oh my gosh. It looks like a wonderful Swiss meringue buttercream. Always a good idea to scrape the bowl down. There's gonna be some less chocolatey stuff on the bottom. Say hello to your scale one more time. Everything mixes up in one bowl, but I'm gonna use a sifter. It's optional, but because of the ingredients we're using, it's just a good idea. Zero your scale out if you're using one. I'm gonna add 2/3 cup of flour, that's 80 grams. It's really just a blessing of flour to give structure to these cookies. If you added too much flour, they would lose that fudgy, rich quality that just makes them so good. They get kind of bready. 80 grams exactly. I'm also adding in 25 grams or 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, and here you can see you have a choice, Dutch process or natural. You can use either in this recipe, it will work, but I developed it with natural cocoa powder. It's a little bit more acidic and it just might give your cookies a tiny bit more lift. Perfect. Scales are the most accurate way to measure your dry ingredients. To balance things out, I want half a teaspoon of salt. I'm using sea salt today because I love how mellow it is. But if you want them to be a little bit more salty, you could add an extra pinch in. I think it gives you just a tiny bit of kick. It's totally personal preference. I like things a little bit more salty. To puff things up, half a teaspoon of baking powder. Just a little bit goes a long way here. Sift this out. These pesky cocoa rocks are the reason I want to use a sifter. Just press them through and everything's fine. If you didn't use the sifter, it might be fine, but sometimes you have a batch of cocoa powder that's like so rocky. Very frustrating. Use a spatula and bring the mixture together until it is almost combined. Oh, that's so pretty. Just fold it together until you see some streaks of cocoa powder and flour left. Now we're gonna add half a cup or 90 grams of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Plop those in and just stir to combine. Once you fold the chocolate chips in, those last few streaks of flour will be handily dealt with. Cover your bowl and we're gonna chill this for at least half an hour. If you don't chill your dough, the cookies will spread and become flat and lose that fudginess that we love. So into the fridge and we'll be right back. If you love baking delicious things, I hope you hit that sub button and subscribe to the channel. We post 2 new full-length recipes every week, as well as a bunch of shorts, so there's always something delicious on the horizon. Towards the end of your chill time, set your oven to 350 so it's nice and hot by the time you're ready to scoop. Grab a 1.5 to 2 tablespoon size scooper, and we're just gonna get to work. This is really nice and firm now, so that chill time basically did some magic. 3 inches between each cookie should be fine. There will be some spread and you don't want them to be connected. Bake these off in batches, or if you don't want all the cookies at once, you can freeze them for later. Just scoop them out, plop them onto a baking sheet and freeze until solid, and then transfer to a freezer bag and you're good to go. Those can be baked from frozen or you can let them come to room temperature. My first batch is ready to go into the oven, 350 for 10 to 12 minutes until the edges are set and the top is crackled and glossy. In you go. Allow your cookies to cool slightly and then they're ready to enjoy. Perfectly chocolatey, so gooey and amazing on the inside with that nice crisp shell. I hope you had a chance to make this recipe, and if you like this video, check out my cookie playlist.